Welcome to Inside Plug, the podcast where independent creators and entrepreneurs connect and inspire. I'm Devon Jones, a military veteran turned filmmaker. I found my spark in the military, and now I'm here to help you find yours. Inside Plug is a platform for your voice, stories to be shared, and ideas to flourish. Let's dive in and plug into creativity and entrepreneurship together. Today, we have actor Hunter Weiss. He played in a film called A Cowboy Against Thunder, which was directed by Morgan Ermter. He plays the character Red Hat. He also attended an event called the Red Rug Affair. He's here now on our podcast and sharing his experience with us. Hunter, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so I've been looking across a bit of the project A Cowboy Against Thunder. Could you share a little bit about that project with us?
Absolutely. Yeah, it was a ton of fun. I filmed it last summer. It was a Western styled project where basically I was able to go on set for a day and basically pretend to shoot guns at people. It was a ton of fun.
All right, nice, nice. So how did you take us back a little bit? So how did you find that project, or how did that project find you?
So way back when I was first starting off, I had reached out to a whole bunch of people in the film industry here in Calgary, and I came up across a man named Griffin Cork who agreed to just meet up with me one random day to discuss like how the film industry works, how he got his start, what kind of like the basic steps to getting there. And so he helped me out. I started up, and from that, then I got a message from him like 2, 3 months later, just saying, "Hey, I'm starting up this film. I'd love to have you be a part of it. Would you be interested in doing that?" So, and I was like, "Absolutely, I'd love to."
All right, nice. That's awesome. All right, so for the character, how did that come about? Did you get any sides for the part, or was there an audition?
So for that character in particular, no, there wasn't an audition because I fit the look that he was hoping for, and from that I got it. That said, I have done other short films that have yet to be put up on IMDb because they're still like in production and whatnot. But those ones, it would be like, um, you go in, you talk to the director, you talk to the casting director, and you'll be like, they'll give you sides and you audition for them, and you only get like the one opportunity to get that audition right. If you don't get it right that in that one opportunity, that's kind of it. You're hooped.
Got you, got you. All right. So could you share a little bit more about your experience on the set of A Cowboy Against Thunder?
Absolutely, yeah. So I showed up on the set. I met up with Griffin. I met up with Morgan. They were absolutely pleasant the entire time. I, you know, I it was a pretty hot summer day too, so lots of like the crew and whatnot would be walking up to me asking like, "Hey, do you need any water? Can we get you anything? How are you doing in the heat and whatnot?" Because as an actor, you got to be wearing the costumes that they want you to wear, and so because of that, sometimes the costumes aren't the most weather appropriate. Sometimes you're wearing like, t-shirt and shorts in the wintertime, and sometimes you're wearing like a full three-piece suit in the blazing hot heat of the summer. So it's very dependent, but everybody on set was incredible. They were just phenomenal people. My other castmates that I was performing with, the other Red Hats, were incredible as well. One of my good friends, Matthew Godden, actually really helped me step forward by introducing me to a class um, that has just propelled me even further from that.
Nice. And was that an acting class?
It is an acting class. Yeah, it's called Acting with Chad Rook. They're starting up this whole academy come recently, but I've made some incredible friends from them.
All right. Um, could you throw any gems out there? Any tips that you learned from that class that you can share with the audience?
Yeah, the biggest one is to not have a filter. As an actor, as an actor, you have to understand what the character is calling for and what the director might want. As a person, though, you might not feel comfortable in doing those things. Like one big one, for example, for myself, was getting angry in front of people. I for my whole life, I was always constantly being like, no, I can't get angry. I can't get mad at, like, around people. I don't want them to see that side of me. But then as an actor, and you have to get angry and you have to get that to that point of like big elevation, big anger, you have to realize like you yourself are not the character. You're playing this character. And so because of that, you have to not filter out those types of things. You can't filter out those screams, those angry moments, those sad moments, those joyous moments, just because you, the person, feel uncomfortable in doing that.
Nice, nice. Um, so far with the projects that you've worked on, have you had any obstacles or difficulties? Maybe connecting with a character, or maybe trying to evoke an emotion that a character is going through, or any obstacle like achieving a part.
Oh, absolutely. There's constant obstacles. With getting into the characters, sometimes you'll be reading and you can't connect with them for the life of you. I played this one role back, oh gosh, a while ago now, where the character was just the character was a kid who was realizing his sexuality. And you know, as a straight man, with a guy with a girlfriend and whatnot, that was pretty difficult, because it's like, okay, how do I get to invoking these romantic feelings for a gender that I'm not, that I don't feel that level of attraction to? And I actually ended up talking to a couple of my friends who are in the LGBTQ community, and they were basically just kind of explaining like it's honestly just a very similar feeling to how you would feel towards your girlfriend and whatnot. And so that honestly really helped out, because I was like, I don't understand how to get to that point. As for like difficulties in getting a role itself, that's just that's kind of a one in a million chance type thing, because like when I get an audition, most of the time it's like a filmed audition, right? So you just make a self tape and you send it in. But it's not just me sending that tape in. It's me sending it in. It's a friend sending it in. It's someone from Toronto or Vancouver. Like there's thousands upon thousands of people sending in self tapes these days. And so you have to figure out, how do I make myself the most different from these other 5,000 people?
Nice, nice. All right. So you mentioned audition in there. Could you possibly take us back to your very first audition, and how was that for you?
Ooh, so my very first audition for the film industry was a year and a half ago now, where I had there was a Facebook group. It's called the Calgary Actors Facebook group, where like a lot of independent filmmakers and whatnot will post like casting calls, what their projects are and whatnot. They'll throw it up there. And I was fresh out of the gate, like out of high school, out of university, being like, okay, I want to pursue film acting as like a career. Let's throw my name into the ringer, see if maybe this guy wants to work with me. Because there was a man, his name's Jesse. He helped me out with that. Jesse Prosser. He set up like a Facebook group posting, and I threw my hat in the ring, and he reached out. He said, "Hey, I want to audition you." And so I went to his house and I read the lines in front of him, and I had to pretend to break up with somebody in front of him. And it was a weird time, to be fully honest, because it was probably my first audition like that ever. So all the nerves and whatnot were kind of affecting me. But all in all, it was a great time. And afterwards, he said that he liked me and I got the part.
Nice. That's awesome. That is so awesome. All right. So for the projects that you have right now, where can people find some of your work and where can they look at, your pages?
So you can find me on Instagram at my name Hunter Weist, or on Facebook at my name Hunter Weist. Um, I post like little clips, little updates of my life on those places, things that I'm interested in. As for my projects currently, um, there a lot of them are in the like post production phase, so it's like the editing stuff. So they're not fully up yet, but yeah, I always keep my socials updated whenever they do come up, so you'll definitely see them there.
All right. Nice. All right. Go check him out on his social media profiles. All right. So let's talk about inspiration. Who or what inspired you to become an actor?
So the first thing that inspired me to do acting, I was a kid when I first started doing acting. I would think I was 10 years old, and I was just performing in like my little like middle school plays and whatnot. But I've always been a movie guy. Like my dad always took me to movies. My stepdad, all that was the way we always would connect with each other, was through movies and whatnot, through that kind of shared love. And it always kind of there was always kind of this thought instilled in me of like, wow, that'd be so cool to be a part of those movies and to do that. And then through high school, I continued doing like the high school performances and whatnot. And finally, it was a friend of mine who said, you're really good at this acting thing that you do. You should try pursuing it professionally. And so I ended up actually going to McEwen University up in Edmonton to do theater acting. But the entire time I was there, I still felt like, no, film is kind of where I'm wanting to be at. Like, it's just the idea of making those movies and having fun with those movies is kind of what I want to do. Like stage and theater acting, don't get me wrong, ton of fun, but there's something about film acting that just really really makes me go like, yes, that's exactly what I want to do.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. So I asked this question to pretty much all my guests. If you can recommend a book, a TV show, or a movie for inspiring filmmakers, what would you recommend to them? It could be one
Uh,
from each category, or it can be one of all.
yeah, the movie I'd probably recommend would be, oh, that's a tough one. Probably for my personal experience, Avengers Endgame. And I say
Ooh,
that because that showcases like, the dumb fun things that you can get from movies and whatnot, and like the excitement that you can get from those. But it also does have those big emotional beats in them. And I remember when I first saw that movie in theaters, that was kind of like the linchpin of when I knew, yeah, I'm definitely wanting to do this whole movie thing, because it was just a phenomenal movie. And watching it happen, there was the action scenes where it's like, oh, this would be so cool to film, so cool to do like the fight stuff. But at the same time, it was like the friendships that you would make along that way too, where you have to be emotional with them, and you're doing it over an extended period of time. Like, absolutely.
All right, all right. So I'm glad that you mentioned those two things, the action and then you said the emotional side. Would you say you're an actor who has like a specific genre that you prefer, or you're kind of open across the board?
So I like to remain open. I definitely lean more towards the action comedy thing. Um, but I know with my look, because I've got like darker features, I've got dark eyes, dark hair. Um, I would definitely play more. I definitely play a better villain role than I would a hero role. And so because of that, I'd probably end up being more in like those dramatic movies, the action movies, playing those villains and whatnot. But yeah, as a lean towards, I definitely lean more towards action and comedies.
All right, nice. All right, so with all the technology and new features that's going around in the film world, what do you see filmmaking in the next 5 to 10 years?
Well, I see I see it progressing even further. Um I know recently they've started doing this thing for some of the bigger projects where they kind of recreate the background sets it's no longer done with like green screen and whatnot, but where the actors can actually see the location they're on based off of like this kind of circular, like basically massive TV screen around them, recreating the environment and whatnot. But I do definitely hope that we start to return a bit more to some practical stuff, because like some there everybody these days can now see when like CGI in a movie just isn't that great. Like everybody can see it. It's no longer like this absolute phenomenal marvel that something shows up on screen. It's like, okay, that's very clearly CGI. Whereas, if we return a bit more to the practical side of things, that brings back that, like, whoa, I can't believe they were actually able to do that in real life. Like that's incredible. Kind of bring back that wonder that films are supposed to bring.
Yes, yes, I couldn't agree more. All right, so if anyone was to ask Hunter, who is your favorite actor? What would you tell? Who would you tell them? Or if you have top three, if you can't narrow it
Top
down to just one.
3 actors. Man, throwing me with a doozy there. um it kind of changes for myself. My current top 3 would have to be um Hugh Jackman, Christian Bale, and Hayden Christensen as of this current moment in time right now. Like
All right.
I just saw Deadpool and Wolverine. Absolutely loved it. It was a fantastic movie. Hayden Christensen, he's had his ups and downs, but his stuff in the Star Wars as of recently has been awesome. And Christian Bale, I mean, I just recently was showing my girlfriend the Dark Knight trilogy and like his Batmans, and it definitely reignited that, like, oh man, I forgot how good he is in these movies.
Nice, nice. All right. All right. So before we head out, is there anything you want to share with any aspiring actors out there or new filmmakers?
Yeah, couple things. One, don't give up. It's a hard industry. There are a ton of ups and downs. Money will always be tight. And there are going to be so many moments where you feel like you're going to end up wanting to quit. But you got to just keep pushing through. Like even on those hardest days, you realize why you do what you do. You realize why you love it. Every single time that I personally am on a set, it reminds me this is why I go through all of those hardships, because I get to go to this moment and be on set and have such a fantastic time, have such an awesome journey. Like, don't ever give up. The other thing I would also say is network. Network, network, network. A ton of the roles that I've gotten have purely been because I knew somebody who knew somebody who knew somebody who's making a film. Like they really undersell how important networking is to this industry. And like, if you know somebody who's making a movie, reach out to them and say, "Hey, we hung out a while ago. Would you be interested?" And you may get something. You may not, but at the end of the day, it is always going to be a win if you network. And currently, as you mentioned, I was on the Red Rug Affair. I got to go to the Red Rug Affair. There is another one coming up in Calgary in October. And that is like the biggest networking event in Calgary. So if anybody gets the chance to go to it, I absolutely recommend it. You do not want to miss it.
All right, thank you. All right, check out the Red Rug Affair. The event is it's an annual event.
Currently, they're hoping to make it an annual event. Yes.
All right. So go check that out. And Hunter, thank you again for sharing your insights and your experience.
Thank
Really
you for
appreciate
having
that.
me.
All right, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to Insight Plug. We hope you enjoyed today's episode and found it inspiring. Remember, every journey begins with a single step, and every creator has a story worth sharing. If you love what you heard, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave a review on insightplug.com. That's www.insightplug2gs.com. Your feedback helps us bring you more content. Until next time, keep creating. Devon Jones signing off. Stay inspired.